Good day, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the show. On this the 7th, Thursday, the 7th of January, 2021. Well, yesterday, the 6th of January, was a wild day in Washington. Anyway, there's a lot happened yesterday. Now, there's really things I was worried about uh, us getting through for the next few months to get into summertime. I think things have actually de-escalated somewhat since yesterday, even though the perception for a lot of people out there is that things have escalated. But for me, now, I watch the overall trend of things that are happening within the economy and things like that, and I see a de-escalation. Now, yeah, this doesn't mean we're out of the woods. That's what I want you guys to understand. It's because I see a de-escalation. Moving into this summer, I still am thinking about the recovery that's going to come probably this summer. And maybe in the fall, a recovery starting. This recovery is going to lead to something much bigger proportions than anything we've went through yet going into next year. And what that is a wealth transfer. We already see the signs of it coming. What do you think's driving cryptocurrencies, driving gold, driving silver? Is this wealth transfer? And it's because the conditions have been created. They're just right. And this is why you're seeing the prices of cryptocurrency skyrocketing is the conditions that are creating that to happen. And they're only going to get worse as we move into this economic recovery this summer. I think that the de-escalation that we've just went through, even though most people perceive it as an escalation, I was worried that things would get a whole lot worse than this, and it looks like it's kind of. You ever heard the old saying, "A tempest in a teapot"? I think what's going to happen is as we start to move past this situation that's been happening in this month, and we move into around March, that we're also going to see a de-escalation in this virus. I think because the shots are going out, and people are lining up to get them. And what we're going to see, I think, is it start to settle back. Things don't last forever, Things like this. I'm not going to call it a flu. It's not a flu. It's a cove, whatever, But things don't last forever. Back in 1918, when we had the Spanish influenza, it was terrible. But it didn't last forever. It lasted for, I think it's going to last, it lasted quite a little while. I think it lasted like 3 years. And at its peak, I heard different stories out there about how mail wasn't even being delivered. The whole world was just about shut down by the Spanish influenza. But things like this don't last forever. And as we start to move into this economic recovery and the economy starts to pick up, we're going to see something very unusual happen. The velocity of money is going to, for the first time in a long time, is going to start to bounce upwards. It's going to bounce upwards very, very quickly. You see, they just got finished dumping trillions and trillions of dollars in to the pool. And the velocity of money hasn't taken off. It's just tipped up a little bit. It's went up just a little bit. It's going to shoot up when we start to get the recovery. And that means that money is starting to move through the system again. That's what's going to generate our economic recovery we have coming into next summer and into next fall. But why I say it's going to lead to doom is it can't lead anywhere else but hyperinflation. And if you think the situation that we've been through in the last 12 months is bad, you haven't seen nothing yet to what the hyperinflation will do. And there's no way out. They just can't enact these policies and things without a driver behind what's pushing them to enact new policies and stuff, to try to move into what's called a reset. It just ain't going to happen, guys. We're going to be using these dollars that we have now. The hyperinflation is what's going to create the reset, but it's going to force them to have a reset. So I hear all this talk out there about reset, reset, reset. No, the reset just ain't going to come. It ain't going to come on its own. It's going to come as an answer to a problem that's been generated. And the problem is coming. It's coming down the tracks. I got my ear to the tracks, guys. You know, more than anybody else out there. And that's why I knew this problem was coming that we just went through. And I thought it could be a whole lot worse. Now I see it's kind of settled back. It's done. It's headed up and it's popped. Just like a guy that's lit a firecracker and he's waiting for a firecracker to plop and he doesn't know how big the explosion's going to be. And then when it pops, he can see. Then he can see. Well, I can see this thing is popped. Now we're going to move forward toward our recovery. And it's from all this money. Now the money loop is getting completed. The policymakers out there, the power behind the money has consolidated, and they're ready to go. They're ready to really start up the rotary press. Now, before they were using an old-fashioned press to make dollars with. Now they got this big new rotary press. And I'll tell you what the rotary press is. On one side of the rotary press, you got Janet Yellen. And on the other side of the rotary press, you got Powell. And you got a consolidation now between the whole thing is consolidated into a money-making rotary press. And it's 1,000 times faster than the old press that they were using. Unlimited amounts of currency units that they can create. Now they're going to move forward with these programs. And these programs are going to help a lot of people. A lot of people that are destitute right now and don't see a way out, they're going to get their check in the mail. And not just a $600 check. Heck, they'll probably start up the rotary press with the $2,000 that you were offered that you didn't get. It's probably coming very soon when they start up this new rotary press. This new rotary press is the machine, boys. It can spin at 36,000 RPMs. It's spitting money out in every different direction. Here it comes. The flood of money. You think you've seen something yet? The money's went exponential. And you know what's going to happen? This is going to lead to an economic recovery, but it's going to also lead to doom. Doom. Hyperinflation is doom. And if you think you've seen protests and you think you've seen problems now, wait until the hyperinflation hits. And everybody that's invested in dollars, which is 99% of the people out there, that don't have any silver, don't have any gold, don't have any bitcoins, don't have any cryptocurrency whatsoever. Wait until you see when this hyperinflation starts to really hit them, and it starts to become obvious to them that they should be in these asset classes that are divested from the dollar. You see, we've never been through a worldwide hyperinflation before. Ever. This will be the first time ever. During a hyperinflation, they always reach out to something of value to use as a means of trade and commerce. So what happens this time? When it's a worldwide hyperinflation, they can't reach out to the dollar because the dollar is what's going down. They can't reach out to their own currency. It's what's going down. Here in Canada, it'd be the Canadian dollar. And you name what country you're in, all the currencies are pegged to the dollar. And the dollar was pegged to gold. Then they lifted that peg and pegged it to oil. And now it's pegged to nothing because the Chinese have been busy over there. Really busy decoupling the dollar from oil. And it's been going on for quite a while now. So what's the dollar coupled to now? Nothing. And so when they start this rotary press and you got something that's connected to nothing, it's a no-brainer in my mind that it's going to go to nothing. You know, what I'm talking to you guys about is the real doom. I'm going to call it the real doom is coming, and it's probably about a year away. Maybe a little bit more than a year away. And you guys got to prepare for it. You only got about a year left. And every day that passes, we're moving one day closer to the hyperinflation, the real hyperinflation. And if you're going to preserve any sort of wealth at all, you got to start now. Because think of yourself as an early adopter in the gold, silver, and cryptos. Because that's what the hyperinflation is going to do to them. And right now, you're still an early adopter. And I'm not saying to go out and buy all your money, put 100% of your portfolio into it and all this kind of stuff. No, I'm saying just to start slow, especially with cryptocurrencies, because you could lose everything. You're out there, you know, and you invest in cryptocurrency. You don't know what you're doing. Maybe you might invest your life savings into it, and all of a sudden you put one letter wrong. And when you send it to the address, and it goes off into the internet, into oblivion, and you can't recover it. That's dangerous stuff to play with if you don't know what you're doing. So start small. Start with the price you'd pay for a handful of candy bars. What, $15, $20 now for a handful of candy bars? I remember when candies were like 25 cents. That's how to start. Just start small. Maybe $20 or something, you know. What you'd spend for a lunch at McDonald's. And go out there and buy a little bit. Even if it only buys you a few Satoshis and you want to play with Bitcoin, buy just a few Satoshis of Bitcoin and try moving them around on the internet and make sure you're successful before you move on to the next step. Now, you don't have to be so careful if you're buying real physical gold or silver, you know, with the there's no learning curve there. Basically, you just purchase it and they bring it to you and you can put it away wherever you're going to put it. You know, it's real physical and it's old school. It's old school. It's easy to deal with. These new cryptocurrencies are newfangled, you know, and so a lot of you guys out there in my audience right now I'm talking to, you're already used to the cryptocurrencies. So I've talked enough about this now. The next thing I want to talk about on my agenda, what I'm going to talk about today is I was on the internet a few minutes ago and I spotted the real free energy. I spotted a guy, he's making a magnet motor. And I watched how he was making it. And yeah, I think it's the real deal. You know, and I've been into this for a while now, studying these free energy machines and stuff, you know, and some of them are real hoaxsters, scamsters, you know. They'll try to make a free energy machine, they'll hide a magnet in it or something, you know, or hide a little motor in it that's actually running it, and they're scammers. But I think this one I was looking at was the real deal, and I believe that with these magnet motors, if you've got the arrangement just right, you can make a free energy machine that's what's called over unit. I can't remember the name of it, but anyway, what it's doing it over unity. That's what it is. Over unity. What it's doing is it's producing more energy than comes in. Like it's actually. I believe it is possible, and I believe that I'm going to load the link for you guys in that. And now we're going to get into the markets right now and take a look. Let's get the chart prices right here. Today. 26.97 today. It's down 29 cents. But to me, I don't see where it's down 29 cents because I see it right in its range. In fact, it's near the middle of its range. Its range is running between 26.60 and 27.80. Okay, and it's at 26.97 right now. Let's take a look now at gold. Gold is 19.11, and it's more near the bottom side of its range right now than silver. It's down $7.10 today. Let's take a look at cryptocurrency today. And guess what? She's cracked $1 trillion. Not $1 billion. She's cracked $1 trillion. 1,039 billion. So it went up $39 billion, over $1 trillion yesterday. The first trillion took Bitcoin, the cryptocurrencies, like 11 years to get to $1 trillion. That's $1,000 billion. The second $1 billion is probably only going to take maybe less than a year, right? The third trillion is probably only to take about a month. The fourth trillion is probably only going to take a few days. Fifth trillion is probably only going to take a day. The 6 trillion is probably only going to take an hour. The 7th trillion is probably only going to take about 10 minutes. And by the time we get up 9, 10, 11 trillion, they're going to be happening $1 trillion a second. It's going to be going up. And this is what's called the wealth transfer. When we see all of the fiat's wealth start, no matter how much money that they produce, people are going to spend it as fast as they can get it. And what are they going to buy? What are they going to reach out to? You know, always in a hyperinflation, they always have to reach out to something of value to put their money. Like we had the hyperinflation, you know, I can't think of the name of the country. Having a brain fart, guys. But when we have a hyperinflation, they always have to reach out to a different currency or a different something of value. In this case, worldwide hyperinflation. I believe, personally, they're going to reach out to Bitcoin. Gold and silver, too. But primarily Bitcoin, because they can't get a real physical gold and silver. It's going to be a limiting factor that they can't get any. And in their desperation to reach out for a life preserver, Bitcoin's going to be there. And they'll be able to buy it on their little cell phone. And so I think that that's what they're going to reach out to. And there's no end to how high it can go. And there's, like, right now we got $38.5 thousand Bitcoin. Well, suddenly, 2 or 3 weeks ago, those $20,000 Bitcoins are starting to look kind of cheap. You know? Seriously. And if Bitcoin goes up to 100,000, then the $38,000 Bitcoin we got now is going to look cheap. And if Bitcoin goes up to $1 million, then the $100,000 Bitcoin will look cheap. You see where this is going? There's no limit to how high the darn thing can go. Especially when all the fiat currencies are going down in the opposite direction. And when we get a mad panic worldwide getting out of all these fiat currencies, no matter how much they print, the more they start up that rotary press, the higher Bitcoin's going to go, and the less what they're printing's worth. And you're going to invest in that? And guess what? There's a lot of guys being fooled right now, and that's exactly what they're investing in. That's what they're going for. So anyway, Bitcoin right now is 38,500. Let's take a look at the Dow today. It's up 315 points on the Dow. If we take a look now at crude oil is at $50.71. It's finally cracked 50 bucks. The move index today, which is the credit markets, is going down. So it's taking some of the pressure off the credit markets right now. And you can see this doesn't have anything to do with events going on in the real world, like they can be things happening in Washington that are just beyond madness, and we can see the move index is actually going down in the opposite direction. And so we can see this has to do with the flows of money. It doesn't have to do with any of the events happening in the real world. It's the same way with the stock market and everything. It's called decoupled. They're all decoupled now from the events happening in the real world. Bonds and rates today, we're looking at bond yields rising. Now, this is something we have to really watch out for. And they're rising quite a little bit. And they've been rising. They're on the move, bond yields, especially on the long end of the yield curve. They will not allow this. They cannot allow this because this can explode the economy. If we get the U.S. 10-year goes over 2%, they cannot allow that. Right now, at this point in time, they got too big of a debt to service. And so they're going to have to keep these rates low because it'll explode. It'll explode the whole economy. It'll destroy the economy. This is a big market. This market is like 3 times the size of the stock market. This bond, and it's so leveraged. They cannot allow this to happen, and this is a no-no. And so you'll see them react to this, just like they'll react to the move index. Those are the 2 things that they react to. They don't care about all the other things that are happening out there. They're not going to react to any of that. They're going to react to this. And so we're going to watch the long end of this yield curve very carefully. And you'll see that they will react to it. And I see it continuing to climb. They're going to have to do something about it very soon. U.S. dollar index today. Dollar's climbing today. So they're buying into the dollar. Trouble comes, they're buying into the dollar. They think it's going to deflate. They think the system's going to deflate. Even though they can see that the rotary press is getting ready to go into action. The new monster rotary press, the big money print is coming. Still, they're buying into the dollar. They can't see it. They can't see the forest for the trees. They can't see that this inflation is going to blindside them when it comes. You know, and now the stage has been set. The final pieces are being put together right now to start up the rotary press. Need those final 2 keys. That's in Georgia, the Georgia elections. Those are the final 2 keys they needed. Put 1 key in, and in the ignition. Put the other key in the ignition. Turn it to the right, and listen to that engine start up on the rotary press. Thank you guys for listening to my show. Like and subscribe. We'll catch you guys in the very next episode. And you guys have a great day, what's left of it. Bye-bye, guys.